The YTPC, Joshua Stewart, pipe up north. Well, we got another codger and a corn cob and tobacco tin Tuesday. We'll get right into it. First things first. Corn cob, Missouri Meerschaum Legend. Basic bent corn cob, about as cheap as I get. I should clarify that. As cheap as you can get a halfway decent one. Love these little things. Now, as I was implying a second ago, you can get cheaper ones. And I've had some of the cheaper ones that are the Chinese knockoffs of these. They are very much a disposable pipe if it works the first time. I bought a dozen of them a while back. It ended up only being a couple bucks a piece or something. I still have a couple of them, but you hold one of them in one hand and one of the Missouri Meerschaum. Like these are $8, something like that, $8-9. There's no comparison. No, I'm not going to try to compare this to a $200 pipe. But they'll hold their own. So anyway, enough bragging up on a corn cob. I don't even get a kickback for that. How about that? You got the corn cob and the codger. Got Clapton Black Royal in there tonight. Today, whatever we're at. I'm recording this late Monday night, and it'll go live for you on Tuesday morning. So anyway, and for all the new subscribers, I'll just give a real quick little background here. A lot of guys do the cob Tuesday, so I just kind of put my own little twist on it. Have the codger in the corn cob. And then the tobacco tin, where I share a antique tobacco tin from my mother's collection that she gave me here a few months ago. She'd been collecting probably since the 70s, tobacco tins. And when they moved and downsized, she gave me her collection. So we'll get right to it. Got a Patterson's Tuxedo. This is another one of those tins that's just that green and gold. I don't know, there's just something about that says high class, even though this may have been almost a codger blend back in the day. But I didn't do too much research on this one. Let's see. I better get the cheaters out here for this. Patterson's Tuxedo Tobacco. Specially prepared for pipe and cigarette. Something Patterson Tobacco Company, American Tobacco Company Successor Incorporated. So I would think that would give enough to date the tin. Then on the back it says another potentially helpful to date, the perfection of 50 years experience in the tobacco business does not bite the tongue nor make the mouth sore. Got a scratch here that looks like a fairly fresh one that may have happened in transport again, but this one's got some remnants of the tax stamp on it yet too. So say with the perfection of 50 years experience. So I don't know. I was looking at the tax stamp here. All I can read is something of 1910. Now, if that's the whatever act of Congress required putting the tax stamps on, or collecting a federal tax on tobacco, or whatever it may have been, I don't know. But yeah, neat little tin. Oh, pull the cheaters out here again one more time. Found something else interesting here inside the lid. It's a guarantee. Guarantee. Let's see if I can read that for you. Guarantee: if the tobacco in this tin is not found entirely satisfactory, return the tin with contents to your dealer and he will refund your money. And to the dealer, see our guarantee on the carton. So I imagine there's a few people that probably took advantage of that over the years, but yeah, so just another neat old tin. So I failed to do my obligatory 5-minute history lesson or history research on it before I started, but neat little tin. So I want to do a little follow-up now. On my last video, I posed the question about some of the cheaper Meerschaums, or Meerschaum pipes. And it seems like the general consensus was those cheap ones I'd probably be disappointed in. Which, that's kind of what I suspected, but I just wanted to make sure. So I'm going to hold off a little while till I'm ready to spend a little bit more money and get a good one. With a Meerschaum, that's kind of one of those, especially if I'm going to be spending, potentially a couple $100 on a pipe, which I've never spent anywhere near that on a pipe yet. It just seems like I should at least hold it in my hand before I try it out. Or before I buy it, I should say. If they'd let me try it out, all the better, but and I'm not really sure of any tobacco shops in Minnesota that stock new Meerschaum pipes, because I'd want to get a new one. An estate Meerschaum that's got a little bit of coloring would be cool and all, but call me greedy, but I would want to do all the coloring of it myself. So being there aren't too many places that I would get a chance to get to very often that would have some of the decent Meerschaum pipes in stock on a regular basis. I was thinking I should probably try to make an effort to get to one of those pipe shows in the next year or so. I'm thinking the closest one is actually probably going to be Chicago, which is still, it's an all-day drive from here to Chicago. And I looked at flying too, and it's a 2-hour flight or less, thereabouts, from the airport that I would go to Chicago. Which that might be an option too if I can catch the right deal on an airplane. But unless somebody's aware, are there any pipe shows in Minneapolis or in Minnesota anywhere? I wouldn't expect them to be the size of like the Chicago pipe show, but if there was one in Minneapolis or thereabouts, that would be definitely close enough that I could drive there and back in a day if I had to. But as unfriendly as Minnesota is towards tobacco, I think that would probably be a difficult thing for people to do, or for businesses to do. So anyway, that'll be something for me to consider. I'm thinking Chicago's probably the most likely, though St. Louis is probably drivable too in a day, but if we're getting much further than Chicago, I mean, maybe I could almost consider going to Vegas too if I gotta fly, because I can get pretty cheap flights to Vegas sometimes. But oh well, we'll see where my mind goes. I think about buying a Meerschaum pipe, and all of a sudden I'm planning to go to a pipe show. So anyway, then there's one more thing here. With seems like colder months now, fall and winter, a lot of guys seem to be hitting their English blends more often. As many of you know, I've tried a couple of English blends, and I won't say that I strongly dislike them, but there's something. I mean, the Latakia is interesting, but to me, it's not something that I would really seek out, or honestly, that I enjoy as much as some other things. But that being said, I would like to be able to enjoy English blends. So I've been thinking for a while, and I've mentioned this before, that sometime down the road, I'd like to give the English blends a serious shot. A serious shot to where I smoke maybe a bowl or two a day of various English blends over the course of 2 weeks, something like that. And I've got several tins of various English blends around here. I know I've got some of the Patterson early morning pipe and nightcap, and 965 and standard mixture. I know I got a few other English blends around too that some of them I haven't even tried yet. So maybe what I'll ask you guys for some advice here before I go ahead and do that. I might start it, I don't know, after Christmas, after New Year's, maybe somewhere in there. Hard to say. But if there's any of the must-try English blends that are at least somewhat readily available, that I may not have, or that I didn't specifically already mention, or even if I did mention them, if they're ones that, I need to have like a bowl a day for 3-4 days, and it might come around to me. I know I've had other blends that have been that way, that the first bowl I was kind of so-so, but after a couple of bowls it's really grown on me. So I guess what I'm saying is I'm looking for recommendations for must-try English blends. Especially for someone that's not terribly fond of the Latakia end. Now that's one of those things that, like I said, I want to like it, but I'm just not there yet. So I've probably got at least 15 different English blends around here, different places. Or I should clarify, English, Balkan, Latakia type blends. As if see, I'm still a newbie at this. I mean, I've only been at the pipe for a little over a year, and on YouTube for about 9 months now, I guess. I've learned enough to know that I've got a lot to learn yet. And one of the things is, if I understand correctly, the Balkan type blends typically have Latakia in as well. like I say, English, Balkan, Latakia type blends is what I'm looking for. And for the other presenters out there, I'm going to pose this one too. It's kind of made me scratch my head just a little bit. My codger in a corncob and tobacco tin Tuesday video last week, it got some traction and did pretty well. It was kind of funny just kind of watching the view count go way up more than, I mean, several times more views than most of my videos get. Going up and up and up and up, and all of a sudden leveled off. And you go in the real time and it's like all of a sudden it goes from, you know, so many views per hour or whatever it is down to nothing. So I don't know if that's something the algorithm caught that I was talking about tobacco. Oh, I shouldn't have said that word. That's gonna take this one off the algorithm right away. Tobacco's bad for you. Don't do it. But yeah, if the algorithm caught something of that and said, oh, we don't want to show this to people anymore. Interesting. So if any of you other presenters have seen things like that happen, I think this is like the second or third time that's happened. I've had a video that's doing abnormally well for me, and then just boom, nothing. Like it gets shut off. Not that it really matters, and I'd probably still make these videos even if only a dozen people were watching them, but it's always just a little interesting trying to figure out how things work. So anyway, I've yacked long enough today. So this is Joshua Stewart, Pipe Up North. Happy codger a corncob and tobacco tin Tuesday. And I probably won't get another video put out before Thursday, so happy Thanksgiving in advance. Have a good day.